Well, first, what is California Prop 12? And then you had some really interesting thoughts on
Yeah,
all of that.
yeah, sure. Um, uh, Prop 12 is the referendum that was voted on in California, and as far as pigs go, it was about the basically outlawing any pigs raised or even sold into California. That the breeding portion, so just the gestation sows, they could not be in a gestation crate. They have to have at least 24 square feet. Typical production in the United States for pigs is that the breeding portion, that 114 days that they're pregnant, they're in a gestation crate where they can stand up and lay down. And the crate's as wide as the sow, and it's just barely longer than the sow. They can't turn around or anything. And it's much more lower cost, much more efficient, and the hog industry is not wrong. It's probably significantly easier to manage, making sure that each individual sow gets the diet that you want. And if you wanted to feed a sow more or feed a sow less, they can do that. So it's like I said, it's a much lower management system. But the voters in California decided that, hey, we don't want pork produced in a system because we're, once again, we're an affluent enough society that we should have some basic safeguards that pigs at least have the ability to express a little bit of their instincts, which I don't know if turning around is an instinct or if that's what it is, but that's what the voters in California said, that pigs should at least be able to have enough space to turn around, that they need 24 square feet. But I have some serious problems with the thing, and I have some serious problems, I guess, with both sides of the thing, and I have some serious qualms with how the thing actually turned out. I first of all thought, and I still think this, but I guess it's probably too naive, that if 68% of the voters in California truly believe that pigs should never be put in gestation crates, I think that the marketplace, first of all, should have solved that. I think that those consumers should have went to the store and purchased pork that was guaranteed and even certified that it wasn't raised from pigs in gestation crates. And I don't think that happened, but that's neither here nor there. But then I think that, when you start to really look at this thing, California's 10, 12, 13, 15% of the U.S. Fresh pork supply. And we just already said virtually all of the pigs in the United States are raised in gestation crates. Also said that 37 establishments kill 96% of the pigs. Ironically, 37 entities own 70% of the pigs. I don't understand how the market in California is still being supplied with pork, and you don't have these large companies that own these 37 plants. They don't have public offerings for programs that somebody that has Prop 12 compliant pigs could supply. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, those guys aren't, beating up down doors. They aren't saying, hey, raise us some Prop 12 pigs, we'll give this kind of premium. Because, 12, 13, 15% of the pigs in the United States is really a subset of a commodity. That's a lot of pigs. Then there's 115 million pigs. That's what, that takes 15 million pigs a year. That's a commodity. There should be an established market for that. There should be people bidding for pigs. There should be people, and there's only a couple little plants that, and they're not even a fraction of California's marketplace. So I don't understand how Prop 12 played out the way it did. I guess I was really naive because I somewhat believed that we'd see this blip for at least 18 months, 2 years, where the big guys was struggling to build some new gestation facilities that was compliant, and that we'd get this huge demand as little producers. I understood that pork would raise in price in California significantly. But what really happened is, or what it looks like really happened is, the price of pork in California has shot through the roof. None of the big packers have any program to pay any kind of real premium to raise Prop 12 compliant hogs. And us little producers did not get any huge blip and didn't get any huge demand from people seeking out pigs that never had a gestation crate on the farm. So the industry, and I guess it shouldn't really surprise me because the industry is the industry, but man, they're really, really good. I don't know how they pulled this one off, but they pulled this one off.
They're really good at misleading and gaslighting the public a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I've always gone from the very beginning, even though I started as an apparel brand, you'd go to my Instagram or Twitter and you would have never guessed it was an apparel brand because I would just be talking on things, because I would just learn on, like raw milk, for example. I'm wearing the Make Milk Raw Again hat. That's another thing. The more I would read on that and just reflect back on growing up, even in central or southern Indiana, I drank a lot of milk, but it was always skim milk. And I feared whole milk, but I also obviously feared raw milk, and thinking, even after learning about it all and having that first sip, I still was even kind of that little nervousness because of how much we've been gaslit and just shoved down our throats on raw milk. And that's happening constantly. And it's very hard for the consumer to understand because they already come to social media and you're bombarded with X, Y, and Z. And then you've got other people saying all pigs are terrible for you and you'll get parasites. You'll have some that say, no, that's wrong, try pasture pork. And then you'll have another one with a third idea. So it's hard for the consumer to really, and it's crazy to figure out what to do. And that's why, above all else, I say go visit a farm or ranch. If people could go visit you and sit exactly what me and Christian, my videographer, have been doing today, that would completely change their minds. I know for a fact it would. And then they tried the pork chop with, it would be game over.
The thing that really scares me about Prop-12 long term, and I don't know what we do about it, but the thing that really, really scares me is that I fear that in the minds of the residents of California, a lot of them are going to think that they fixed the ethical and humane issues of pigs, and they think now the pork in the stores in California is the pigs raised like Greg raises them. And that's a really, really dangerous, because, it's that whole idea of whether we have transformational change in the food supply or whether we're accepting the fact that we can have incremental change to this industrialized system. And I'd argue, and I think the statistics just prove it, and I know that you can't convince people with statistics, but I'm a numbers person and I love statistics, but the statistics prove that we can argue till we're blue in the face and get the big guys to agree to incremental changes to their industrial system. And they are just gobbling up more and more of our whole food supply when they do exactly gaslight us and tell us, they told us that they were going to have slow-growing broilers by 2024. Hell, some of these same players in the industry said that all their sows were going to be out of gestation crates by 2024. We're really naive public. 10 years ago, they were saying they were going to do all this. Now it's the same players that are arguing they got Brooke Rollins and they got some senators saying, we're going to get this EATS Act in here because we're going to get California's right to be able to take this away, from the exact same players that 10 years ago said, we aren't going to have any gestation crates anymore. Man, we're very, very forgetful as a society because they've already made these promises. They backtracked them all, but they got great publicity when they made the promises. No one ever even put it out there that they backtracked them all.